You don't have to swallow what's being fed to you. You can go out and search on your own. There's more stuff out there.
Ever since Johnny Depp escaped his frustrating early days as a teen idol, he has been determined to chart his own course and resist not only the Hollywood status quo, but virtually everything the public had grown to expect from celebrity.
He's always, of course, gone his own way. He goes the way of the artist. He's an artist. That's the thing about Johnny.
Johnny Depp's career has been built on choices that are bold, provocative, and unpredictable.
I respect his choices, really. He's obviously going for the outcasts and have a lot of empathy for the outcasts in life.
There's no better example of Depp's affinity for outsiders than his role in Tim Burton's freakish fairy tale, Edward Scissorhands. Depp plays a boy created by an eccentric inventor, then orphaned before he's given his hands. Instead, he has scissors.
Everybody in Hollywood wanted that part. Everybody.
Tim Burton at the time was a very hot director coming off a big film.
That big film was Batman, and the buzz around town was that Tom Cruise, then the hottest box office star in the world, was on the fast track to play the role of Edward Scissorhands.
I'd been sent an early version of Edward Scissorhands, the script, to read. When I read it, I thought of only one person for the movie, and that was Johnny.
It was 1989, and 26-year-old Johnny Depp was starring in the hit TV series 21 Jump Street.
Everyone said no to me. And it's not that they didn't think Johnny was a good actor, it's that they just felt that he was on a television series, that would never do.
That's the way the studio thinks, and so I always feel that fate enters into things a lot of the time.
Fate did indeed intervene, and a meeting between Burton and Depp was finally set up.
And I wasn't going to go to the meeting, in fact, because I just thought there was no hope. I just thought there's no way this guy's going to see me as some sort of just TV actor. He's not going to cast, why go embarrass myself by meeting him?
After meeting him, I realized, it kind of fit the role because he was perceived as this sort of teen heartthrob from the TV show, when in fact, inside of himself, he really didn't, he's a different person. He's much deeper. He was a real contradiction from the image of what he was perceived at to what he really was inside. And, that was very much what the role of Edward Scissorhands was.
Finally, Johnny got the call he'd been hoping for.
I called him up at home and I said, well, how does it feel to be Edward Scissorhands? And you could just hear the screaming on the other line. He was so excited.
What happened to you?
I'm not finished.
Oh! Put those down. Don't come any closer. Just, please.
Johnny was brilliant casting for Edward Scissorhands because they share, the character and Johnny share a vulnerability, and they also share a feeling of being outside.
Edward Scissorhands was shot in the summer of 1990 in Tampa, Florida.
East of Tampa. There's a difference.
Summertime in inland Florida offered some unique challenges for an actor dressed in full leather. It was also an opportunity for Johnny to demonstrate his commitment to his craft.
It's just the things that people don't see, being in like 100-degree weather, wearing a full leather suit, and still trying to act.
And then one night he had to do a running sequence, running away from the house. I think it's on Christmas. And he passed out. He fell down. We thought, well, is he acting? What's he doing? And he had passed out. Never complained, but he had passed out from the heat of the suit. It was really remarkable. That's somehow very revealing about him. And that quality comes through in his acting.
Edward Scissorhands remains one of Depp's most memorable performances, the role providing Johnny Depp the opportunity to prove that his appeal was more than skin deep.
Oh, and a lot of people dismiss actors that are just pretty looking. I think in many cases he tries to disguise his looks. So, you know, that's like, because it's like cheating being that good looking. He conveys so much through his eyes. That emotional presence, the honesty of that presence is right there. The way he has to rely on, you know, he's forced to rely on those eyes to express complex emotions. I'm very impressed by that performance.
You know, I learned from Edward Scissorhands he's a silent movie actor. And he understands, you know, that a lot of the acting is not in the words.
It's a very wise thing for Tim to say about Johnny, because it is very true. But you know, oftentimes, as in the silent screen, when you have to open your mouth, the truth comes out. And when Johnny opens his mouth, the truth gets deeper.
John Christopher Depp II was born in 1963 in Owensboro, Kentucky. Johnny was the youngest of four. His father, John, was a civil engineer. His mother, Betty Sue, a waitress. When Johnny was 7, his family left Kentucky and moved to Miramar, Florida, a small town north of Miami. Johnny and his new classmate, Sal Jenko, became best friends.
It's like, you know, when you meet somebody and you feel like you know them. That kind of thing. So that's sort of what we have in common.
Johnny was a shy kid who never really fit into his new surroundings. Instead, he found refuge in his imagination.
I think mostly we were dreamers. We did our thing.
But at 15, Johnny's family was thrown into turmoil when his parents divorced.
He was close with his brother and sisters, very tight-knit, and real close with Mom and Dad. Very nice people. It's a sad thing.
Johnny managed to adjust to the divorce by channeling his energy into learning the guitar, one his mother bought for him for $25. Music became Johnny's focus. School, however, was not. So, at 16, he dropped out.
He didn't make the yearbook. He didn't make it that far in school.
Then, at 19, Johnny's musical diligence paid off when he was asked to join a popular Miami bar band called The Kids.
He just fit in perfectly. He plays from his heart. You know, was never really into the technique of playing guitar. He's just more into the feel of it. I mean, we were pretty big fish in a small pond in Florida. We were young, you know, pulling in good money. You know, we played to packed houses every night.
But in 1983, the Kids decided they were ready to leave home.
You know, I just said, look, nothing's going to happen here. You know, we got to either go to L.A. or New York. And New York was going to be too cold.
So it was off to California. 20-year-old Johnny Depp could never have anticipated the life-altering detour that awaited him. And when we return...
You know, it seemed like a whole lot of money at the time to just sort of, you know, go in front of a camera and lie.